Greetings, fellow DFSers and YouTubers. It's your buddy Chop It On coming at you with another episode of DFS Diary, brought to you by the one, the only DFSArmy.com, your one-stop shop for all things daily fantasy sports related. Head down to the comments section, click the link, become a VIP today. Use coupon code CHOP to knock 10% off of that price. What we're going to do today is focus on bottom-up building. As we run through this week and we kind of retouch on the fundamentals, I'm a coach and contributor inside DFS Army. I focus on newer guys, helping you guys get the fundamentals locked in place, making you better players quickly. And then, of course, I typically pass you off to our intermediate and our expert coaches inside the Army to take you to the next levels and beyond. Hopefully you appreciate that. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button down there. Keep the content rolling out to you. And let's build ourselves into better DFS players with the fundamentals. And bottom-up pricing or bottom-up construction building is going to give you an advantage in a couple of ways. Most people build top-down. They simply plug in a point guard, plug in a shooting guard, plug in a small forward, whatever, and they kind of get to the end of their lineup and go, uh-oh, I'm out of money. Well, bottom-up flips that idea on its head, and it starts searching for value first. It gives you targeted research. It gives you another way to look at a slate. Now, you can plug in your value players first, free up a bunch of money towards the end of your build, and start loading with studs at the end that you're targeting. You upgrade a little bit along the way. There's a few different ways to do it. We'll show you those in both basketball and hockey today as we dive into today's slate. Hopefully share a little bit of information. We're going to use a couple of different tools. We'll use the NBA Research Station at DFS Army, and then we'll use the Fantasy Points statistic model out there on Roto-Grinders. Show you a little bit of both, kind of how you can work it on multiple sites so that you can keep things budget friendly with either free advice, paid advice, whatever it is that you want to do. That's what I'm trying to do, is help you guys become better players on a budget. That's pretty much my wheelhouse. So let's jump in. Let's start talking a little bit. Oh, before we go, why don't we dive out to Twitter? Hit the, search for me at Chop It On, whatever, if you don't follow me already. And then retweet my pinned tweets. Retweet some of the tweets that I request to be retweeted, just to spread the love. Help get the information out there. When you help me, I help you. I enter you into February sweeps. I will buy 1, 2, 3 people, I don't know. However many people become VIPs, new VIPs this month, will dictate how many memberships I buy. I just bought one yesterday for a guy, brand new member into DFS Army, because he helped me retweet. I don't care if you got 5 followers or 5,000 followers. The more times you retweet me, the more times you get entered to win. You don't have to be a member of the Army. I'll buy your first month. You can be a member of the Army 3 years in. I'll buy your February. That's what I'm trying to do to incentivize you guys to help me spread the word so we can grow the Army, obviously grow my message, and help other people on a budget become better DFS players. Let's stop letting the sharks eat us up. We're diving out into, I guess we need to start with NBA first. What we're going to do, a 3-game slate today. Sometimes on 3-game slates, value is very, very hard to come by. But instead of sorting by fantasy points, the default, let's sort by value. Come over here, drop it by descending, and let's go position by position and see who the value metrics like, who the projections like. If you haven't noticed, by third-party sites, we've already been reviewed as the second most accurate site out there for our projections, so it's not like these things are just crap on paper. These are legit projections. That's why I like to use them. Point guard, Van Vliet and Forbes are fairly cheap guys. Now, value comes in a couple of different ways. Value can come from cheap guys, scheduled to hit 5x or beyond. It can also come sometimes in guys that are expensive but are still hitting that 5x number. Value is value. An underpriced player is an underpriced player, whether he's $3,500 or 10 grand. Okay? What we're looking for is value players, hopefully cheap players, to start our building around. Van Vliet, Forbes, kind of check those boxes today starting off. When I look over at shooting guard, I see Bellinelli. Now, Bellinelli's only scheduled to get about 24 minutes today. I would like to stay over 30 if I can. I want my guys on the freaking court, and I want them being used if possible. Those are the types of value plays that have maybe been 6th men, 7th men thrust into a starting role, filling in for an injured guy, maybe a guy getting rest, maybe when we go into those back-to-back days where we dip a little bit deeper into our bench and go into more of an 8, 9, 10-man rotation type situation, these are guys that are going to get minutes bumps. It doesn't look like Bellinelli's necessarily that guy yet today, of course. Things will change. That's why you follow your coaches inside DFS Army. But we look at Austin Rivers, scheduled to get 34 minutes today and a 4.9x value. That's a pretty good drop score candidate on Fanduel. He's also cheaper on Fanduel than he is on DraftKings, indicated by this cap differential of a green number at minus 2.9%. Tells me he's maybe been priced up a little bit on DraftKings. DraftKings is more dynamic with their pricing based on matchups day to day than Fanduel is. That can give me an indicator that their algorithm likes his matchup today, which means as being a better value over on Fanduel, definite drop score candidate. Maybe ceiling potential tonight for him. I don't know what that might be, 20, 22, 24 points, whatever. That gives me a little bit of a chance to drop some other dud at 16 points or something like that for cheap with Austin Rivers at 3,800. So I like that value play already today. That might be one of the value plays I start with. Now, of course, I'm going to still continue to do research throughout the day. Doesn't mean I stick with this plan. It's just what I'm looking at early in the morning. When I go over to small forward, Bertrands, OG. These are guys, again, lower minutes. I would stick with Bertrands over OG because with the 23 minutes, it's not telling me a lot. 17 points, yeah, that's almost like a punt. It doesn't have much of a chance at becoming a legit drop score. I would love my drop score guy to be 23, 24, 25 points so that I can then drop a 21 or a 22. If he's only going to get me 17 to begin with, then he's automatically going to be my drop. And I don't even want to pay $3,600 for him. I'd pay $35, or really I'd rather pay up $3,700, $3,800 for a guy who has an actual chance to be a kept score later on today. But you're looking at some of these guys at some of these minutes. Small forward looks a little bit weaker. Bertrands might be a decent value play there. Power forward. Jerebko, again, 17, 22 minutes, 17, not great. 33 and 36 points, but these guys are pricier. Draymond Green, though, might be still bringing us some value for the position, being that it looks like a pretty scarce position where we might need to look towards paying up tonight. So, weaker position. Again, 3-game slate, not a lot to choose from. If we had an 11-game slate, there'd be value everywhere, and it would just be a matter of who we pick and who we like. As of right now, we may only have a few viable spots to kind of run this and show you how to do this. What's his name? Podol, whatever. 3,800, 21 minutes, 20. Not a great pick. Jokic, though, is pretty pricey. Even though 9,800 on DraftKings, 10.3 on Fanduel, still priced under the cap. As a cap differential, portion of the cap, Jokic is more valuable over on Fanduel still than he is on DraftKings. Again, DraftKings prices up faster. They adjust based on matchup faster. That's an indicator that he still might be a value over on Fanduel. And if he's a strong value, he might be who you start with tonight because you've already isolated Bertrands, Bryn Forbes, Van Vliet, whatever, as cheaper plays that you might go to if things get tight. Let's take a little bit of that. Let's go back to the point projected top scores on the night. Quickly scan through the positions. Take a look at who we might be keying on. If we've got all of this value down in our lineups and we've freed up, it doesn't necessarily, I'll show you how it kind of gets away from being stud and scrub as well. Because you can do it two ways. This what you would think would be studs and scrubs because I'm loading in a bunch of cheap value plays and then I've got all this money left to spend and I'll be buying Harden and Curry and and whatever. And that could be the case, but sometimes we can upgrade slowly as we go as well. And we can start building a balanced lineup out of this method as well. So when I'm looking at my stud pricing, it looks like Harden, Jokic, Durant, Kawhi, Curry, DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge. These are the guys I'm generally going to be focused on tonight. As far as just buying raw points, that's another term you might hear me mention from time to time. Sometimes when we've got all that value there and we know it's a drop score type and we got all this money left over, it's almost better to shift into buying raw points instead of focusing completely on value. Let's just buy raw points. We're buying 56 points tonight with James Harden. That might not be great value, but if I've got the money left to burn in my salary cap, just buying pure points, paying more money to buy even more points, oftentimes becomes a viable option. These are experience factors that the more you build these ways, the more you start seeing this, the more you will get into that situation where you say, oh, I've got $5,000 left over. Do I want the value guy at 8,500? Do I just want the 13,000 guy? Well, I'll just take the 13,000 guy because instead of getting 38 points, I'm buying 56 points, and that's going to help my lineup out. When you get into those situations, you will someday, the light bulb will click. Oh, I heard that guy in that video say that. That's what he meant. But again, it just takes a little bit of experience. So these are the studs that we're looking for. Let's dive out into a lineup and let's start building from it. Because what I said before was what? Forbes? This is what I call least objectionable player method of building. because I'm going to start just plugging in my value right and left. And Bertrands. And who else did I have? Austin Rivers is another one. You know, Danny Green was out there too. Let's go ahead and throw him in just as a cheap fix. These are players, these are my least objectionable players. I might even start calling them LOPs. LOP. Why? Least objectionable player. These are players that if I had to stick with them, I'd be okay with it. Now, I don't want to stick with all of them, but if I upgrade my lineup and then I start building a lineup and I've got stud here, stud here, stud here, and then I go, God, do I really want to sacrifice James Harden, and come down a little bit lower to somebody at shooting guard and then have to come up off of my punt? No, I kind of like the punt. I kind of like the least objectionable player in that spot, so then I might keep it. So I fill my lineups sometimes with my least objectionable players as much as I can. And where's Petal? Now I've really only got 2 spots left. I've got 15-2, a shitload of money left against my cap, right? I can start upgrading. If I can't find value at some of these positions, I might want to look into who some of my studs are. Who are my power forward studs? Marcus Aldridge, Cy Cam, Draymond Green. Draymond Green was also on the value list, so we'll go ahead and plug him in there. He was one of the guys that might have been of value today. I'll go to my small forward list, Kawhi, Kevin Durant. If I want to stack them up with Draymond Green, I might. If I want to get away from it and go with Kawhi, I might. What I could do in this case, look, 48 points, 45 points, favors Kevin Durant. Look at Kawhi up here recently. We'll take a look into his game log really quickly. His salary's at 10-3. I need about 50 points out of him theoretically to hit 5x. He's delivered once, twice in about his last 10 games. Everything else has been a little bit under that and a couple of real duds. I'm going to compare him to KD, and we're going to see the same 50 points. And KD's posted a couple of duds, but 1, 2, there's a 67, 3, 4 out of his last 10. Let's opt for KD. Seems like the odds are a little bit better in getting my 50 points with KD right now, even though both players have put up duds the last couple of games. I can throw them in there because I've still got 13-5 left over, right? And now I can start upgrading. I might want to keep Rivers, might want to get rid of Danny Green. So I go into shooting guard for 17-7. I could put Harden and KD in the same lineup if I wanted to. DeRozan, Klay Thompson, Buddy here. Let's throw Buddy in. At 7, I need 35 points. Hasn't been getting it lately, but 40, 35, 30. It went on a little bit of a run there. We'll see a little bit of a run there. I'm just throwing him in there now. This is another least objectionable upgrade, if you will, because I'm still going to try and keep some of this money on the table, and then we'll see where we get to the end. If I come down here with Petal, and I upgrade Petal, I might not jump all the way up to Jokic. I might jump up to a Looney or a Plumlee. If I look at Plumlee at 5K, I need 25 points out of him. There's once, close, twice, 3, 4. Plumlee's been hitting that 25, 5X number pretty recently, so I'll upgrade over Petal to him right away. And then I've got, 9-5 left. See how I'm starting to chew up my money? See how, and this is honestly more fun for me to build this way anyway, because I'm now picking from studs. I'm now picking, if I left Van Vliet out there and got rid of Bryn Forbes and went to point guard, who was I also looking at? Jamal Murray might be on that list. Chris Paul, Darren Fox, Steph Curry. If I went Steph Curry for 10K, I'd have about 3K left over for upgrades. Again, I need 50 points if I wanted Steph. Look at how consistent he's been lately. But 3,500 doesn't leave me a lot of an upgrade. I'd probably have to keep Van Vliet, Rivers. Can't get up off of Highland and get to Harden. Can't get up even to DeRozan, really. Well, I guess I could. 1,800. Bertrands, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green. Probably. Now I'll need to start watching for what I've got. I've got Golden State, right? And I've got Golden State up here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Golden State guys. Might want to kick off of there. Get off of Jerebko. 7,100 for another. There's Cy Cam. My lineup can be done now. If I want to check this list, Plumlee was hitting value. Draymond Green was on the value list. We know what Cy Cam could do. Siakam, whatever. KD, Bertrands. Bertrands was one of our high-value picks. Rivers was one of our high-value picks and a drop score candidate. I don't have too much left in the way of drop scores. I've only got 2 of them in there that I really want to use, so I don't have a bunch of scrubs in my lineup. We all know the rest of these guys are pretty legit. So if I want to just call the lineup good right there today, I could do that. I can go back and I can do it again. I can clear them out. And then I can come back and start it all over again. Find out where I end up going. Maybe I don't want to keep Bertrand's this time, and he's the first one that I upgrade. Maybe I want to choose somebody other than Rivers because it looks like Rivers is going to be incredibly chalky tonight. There's a lot of different ways to go. Maybe I want to go all the way up to Jokic instead of Plumlee, and that may make me take Jerebko instead of Draymond Green. There are just a jillion different ways to go tonight, but these are all viable ways. And as I locked in my value early, I started building a little bit later. So that's one way to do things when we get out into the NBA world. How would we use that for NHL? For those of you that aren't NHL players, you can go ahead and tune out. Give me a like, give me a subscribe on your way out. Click the link, go become a VIP. Start listening to our coaches today because they may build completely different lineups than I just did. That was a first look, early morning type of lineup where I was showing you more of an example. But remember, dfsarmy.com, coupon code CHOP, CHOP, to get in here and start becoming a better player. Now, NBA guys are probably gone. NHL guys, you might be still sticking around. Let's take a look really quickly at how to do this. This was from DraftKings, okay? Now, I don't ever do DraftKings. People have been asking, would you do some DraftKings? I might start incorporating a little bit, but I'm not going to go out onto DraftKings and really build a lineup. Not. We saw how we kind of did that with the NBA stuff. What I'm going to do is show you some of your value players in terms of DraftKings in a little bit different way because the multiplier isn't 5x like NBA. The multiplier is more of a 1-to-1 ratio on DraftKings for hockey. If I got a 3K guy, I'd like to see him averaging 3 points. If I got a 7K guy, I'd like to see him averaging about 7 points. There aren't a lot of those guys left. Getting a little deeper into the season, pricing's getting a little bit tight. So the value we're looking for is as close to 1x, dollar for dollar, or point per dollar that we can get on DraftKings for hockey. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and correlate the best I can, but I'm more concerned with finding my value plays first, and then maybe I've freed up enough money that I can go stack somewhere else. So it would behoove you to run out into the general slate and start targeting high implied total teams. Doesn't look like we've got a lot of Vegas information released just yet today. But when we get it, you're going to want to pay attention to who is scheduled to score, who's in a good position, who is maybe going up against a weaker defense. Chicago we've been stacking against. That puts New York in play. Montreal, Vancouver, vice versa, probably both in okay spots there. The Blues have been prone to blow up, so the Caps are maybe in a good spot. Tampa Bay and the Kings. These are just spots where you might be looking to target some offenses. Okay, Philly's been giving up goals this year, so Carolina might be in a good spot. Tells me that Sebastian Aho probably in a pretty good spot tonight, just off the top of my head and what I know about hockey. So when I kick down into DraftKings, I'm going to go over to Roto Grinders. Like I said, we'd use DFS Army for one, Roto Grinders for the other. Kick onto DraftKings, go into their stats page, go to the NHL, go to more research tools, scroll down a little bit and find the stats page. And what you're going to look at, I shift over to 4 weeks. I want to know who's running good now. I don't care what you did back in October. I want to know what you're doing now. Last 10 games or so. If I had my own research station up at DFS Army, I'd be looking at the last 10 games and the last 5 games and doing my buyers and sellers technique. If you don't know that, follow me, come back. We'll talk more about that another time. But I'm going to kick on to fantasy points over the last 4 weeks, and I'm going to sort that by descending again and bring the blue guys to the top. And now I'm going to go looking for my defenseman value, my defensive value. Generally speaking, it's easier to find on DraftKings because you can get a lot more out of your shot and block your shots on goal and your blocked shots floor with DraftKings because the pricing can be cheaper down there in those players than even on Fanduel. But when you pay up for a Mark Giordano or somebody like a Victor Hedman, you're going to probably be paying up quite a bit on DraftKings. So you need to make sure you've got your value picks already put in place and you know where you're targeting. This is just targeting what we're going to try and find. I'm looking for 5.25 points, divide that into 6.1. I'll show you on the calculator how I'm going to be doing this. 5.25 points divided by 6.1 for the salary is a 0.86. That's good value. So Giordano goes on the list, right? 4.8 into 6.5 is going to be worse. You can already tell salaries higher, points are lower. It's not going to be as good a value as Giordano's bringing right now. Doesn't mean he can't have a better night. It just means averaging over the last 4 weeks, Giordano's brought more value to your lineup than Morgan Riley has. Matchup based, maybe, obviously if Toronto's in a better matchup than Calgary, you might consider that a little bit different. I'm just showing you pure numbers. Okay, I'm not even looking at matchups yet today. Petrie, 4.46 out of 5.4. Petrie's usually a decent play. So if I go 4.46 divided by, what did I say, 5.4? Was that right? 5.4 for Petrie, and we got a 0.82. I've been noticing anything over 0.8 is pretty good. So if you just want to do the quick math and run down this list, what you're going to find, Muzzin and Pulak on the cheaper side of things are your values down here. Okay? It doesn't mean you use both of them, but it means you would maybe start your lineup putting both of them in there and then see if we come back to them to upgrade them later. You may want a Mark Giordano. You may start with Muzzin and Pulak and then come back and go, holy crap, I need at least Alex Edler, or at least Jeff Petrie, or at least maybe I can get to Mark Giordano and get some kind of a Calgary stack in there tonight. That would be how you would do that, because you've already got your value locked in previously at other positions, other spots. Then you can start upgrading. So when I kick over to the center spot, I turn off the defense, put the center spot on, resort by the blue up top. And now I'm looking at Bergeron, Stamkos. Stamkos, 6.25 points, 7.6 salary. 6.25 points, 7.6 salary. 0.82, pretty good. Looking down, Eichel, Pettersson was pretty good. 5.54 and 6.7. 5.54 divided by 6.7. You can start to eyeball this after a little while and start seeing who's really popping out. Barzal popped out. Tyler Johnson, of all people, kind of popped out. Dropping down the list a little bit, we start looking for some of the cheaper guys. Anthony Cirelli. Do your research on him. He's been a value lately. Look at 4.0, he's really, really cheap. 3.9 and 4.0 is great. This is going to be a 90% or so. 0.975 is going to be one of your better value plays on the slate if you use this method or this concept. And he's an easy punt over on DraftKings. Not punt, but he might get you 3-4 points tonight and for cheap, and then allow you to go stack up, get that upgraded up to Giordano and Gaudreau or whatever you're wanting to do with the rest of your lineup, and get into those offenses that you want to target. So that would be how you would kind of go through the centers. And with the wings, I'm going to watch both wings together and start kicking down here. Gaudreau, of all people, 7.04 into 7.6. 7.04 divided by 7.6. 9.2, nasty value right now. Nasty value. You get yourself some Gaudreau and Giordano, you've got yourself two value plays. They're pricey, but you've already got the value in a Cirelli or somebody else that you might be able to offset that. Petrie, Cirelli, Muzzin, somebody like that, where you might be able to offset some of that value. Look, Kucherov also been a value. Marchand also been a value. Watch Sebastian Aho. I mentioned him for a reason. I'd already done my research. 5.55 divided by 6.4. Boom, 861. 867. So if you could get, a Gaudreau and an Aho in the same lineup, how great would that be? Again, you can't do that without working some value in some other places. If we go digging down for some cheaper value, see if we can't find it. Killorn, 4.5375 and 4.5, 3.75 divided by 4.5, 83. Not bad. Looking down a little bit deeper, looking for those cheap prices at this point. Under 4,500, Barchi, 3 games played, probably not. 4.3, we're getting low. We're getting awfully low down here. We need to see the 3K guys. I don't want 2-game samples, but we're looking at the 3K guys down in here. 3,500, something like that. Because even a 4.8 in JVR is not going to bring you great value. That's probably not even 0.8 or better. 3.18 versus 4.8. 3.18 divided by 4.8. Yuck. 66. I would have said 70 something, but I was 66. Not off by much, but we need to get down, down, down into these player lists. If I come down another page, now I'm down here under 3. I need to see 3K guys. And I don't see any. So tonight's going to be a little bit difficult. You might have to punt with a Roussel. I wouldn't recommend it. But these are the types of situations that you might have to really, really dig into for a couple and hope you get lucky with a goal. Tonight might be a little tougher value slate for for most people than most nights. So again, but that's an idea of how to start building with the bottom up. You mark these guys down. You start knowing where my high-priced guys are bringing value as well as where my low-priced guys are bringing value. Now I know where to dig. I know that I want to target a Giordano. I want to target a Johnny Gaudreau, something like that. But I need to do that with value, and that's where I might get a Killorn, or I might get a Petrie, or I might get a Muzzin, or I might get a Cirelli, or something like that, and have to take a little bit of a chance on a lower priced guy that is still bringing lower priced value for his play. And when I can do that, I know where to go on that slate. I can maneuver. I can set up. And what I would do when I'd lock them, say I would lock in a Sorelli, a Killorn, a Petrie, a Muzzin, whatever. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to try and correlate with my other plays. I would love to get up to, Goder and Giordano like I've been talking about the last 5 minutes, but I want to at least correlate some of my plays. I would look at Muzzins in LA. Who in LA is bringing value? I would look at Petrie in Montreal. Who in Montreal is bringing value? And I might correlate them because then if I have to keep that guy for pricing, I have to keep Petrie for pricing, then I want to make sure that they're in a decent spot as an offense. If not, I use him as a one-off. If they are in a decent spot as an offense, we saw him going up against, whoever it was tonight. Let's double check it again because I've already forgotten. Vancouver, not exactly the toughest team on the planet, but not exactly a terrible team. I'd rather target a softer offense or defense, but if I had to use, Petrie at home, I might go looking into some of the other players and make sure they're also in good spots. And then I might correlate with that play so that I can hopefully get the assist and the goal if one gets scored. Hopefully getting into a situation where if multiple goals are scored in that game, I've got access to all of them across the board. That's just a basic way to build a lineup. We focus so much on start with your goalie and pay up for goalie, load in your favorite stack, and then we're hamstrung for pricing and we go, oh crap, where's the value? This method of bottom up teaches you to go looking for value first. Assess the slate from a different angle. When you can build top down and when you can build bottom up, you can build multiple different ways. As your lineup process gets built, you're ebbing and flowing with the slate. You can build two or two. I'll start with my favorite stack because I already know where the value is and I know I can go get it if I need it. And then you start looking, oh, wait, I need to go dig into the value now. I've got my stack in. I need to go pick up a couple of others, throw two or three of those guys in there, take my average salary remaining, bump it back up. Oh, look, I can go afford a $5,500 player now. And now you jump back out there and you go round it out with somebody that you like that may complete a stack or may build lineups that way, and you'll see your scores start improving. You'll see your floor start improving for cash games and things. It's just because you're focused more on value. And focusing on value helps your cash game play tremendously. If this type of advice and this type of type talk, say that 5 times fast, helps you or teaches you something, I encourage you to give our VIP program inside DFS Army a shot. You'll find coaches like me in there that are willing to dig in and teach you through videos like this or through talking in our coaching forums, real-time, question answer, things like that to make you a better player, make you a more competitive player, especially if you're on a little bit lower budget. That's the type of player that I'm personally looking to help. But higher budget players, I've got the intermediate and the experienced coaches for you to take you to that next level too. Not that I can't teach you, but I certainly know my limitations and know where I can teach you the best, and then I know the guys that can go ahead and take you to the next level and beyond, turn you into a potentially world-class player. The only way you can do that, though, is dfsarmy.com. Use coupon code CHOP, CHOP. Kick in here, use that 10% off discount coupon code, and hopefully I see you in there today talking baseball, talking well, not baseball yet, but talking basketball, talking hockey, talking a little bit of golf, talking Week 1 playoff, postseason NFL, whatever it is that feasts your fancy, we've got you covered. DFSArmy.com. I'm Chopadong. This has been DFS Diary. Hopefully you guys have had a good time watching the videos. Thanks for the likes and subscribes. Help me with February sweeps, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.